Okay, players, welcome back to round 2. We have Ruud Mercx versus Thijs Weytens. You see the tiara in the top center in the screen. That's our King of the Hill symbol. Thijs is currently our King of the Hill. That means that anyone who plays against him and beats him gets the tiara and an extra booster. If Thijs himself wins, a random booster will be handed out. Mentioning back the leaderboard, Ruud is currently in 3rd position, and with both of the opponents above him losing a round, he is currently tied for 2nd in the leaderboard and in position to win a bye. We also just had an announcement that people in 3rd, 4th or 5th place will be receiving free boosters for their position in the leaderboard. Niet een beetje, maar jullie mogen doen wat je wil. Ja, je moet niks speciaal doen. Okay, so as I said earlier, this is still very experimental. We're still developing everything. A lot of things need to be talked about at the last minute notice, so you'll hear a lot of conversations about either live totals or what is or isn't allowed that we're addressing at the time itself. Sorry for that, but there's not much we can do about this. Like I said, this is still very much an experiment going on. Okay, so I have a second monitor that should get the chat open if I find the chat again. So alright, I see we have some extra viewers. Welcome, guys. Is the sound okay now? I can still put it higher if you want. Okay, in the meantime we're off to the match. Please, viewers, if you have any feedback, I have half an eye on the chat right now, so just let us know if we can do something better, if I need to fix the sound or anything. Also, my screen is probably a lot smaller than yours, so if you recognize cards in screen, feel free to call it out. Okay, upping the volume. So this is pretty close to the maximum we can do here. If this is too loud. Alright, so we have a mulligan before we're underway. Okay. Thijs missed a few of the events, so he's not in a relevant position in the leaderboard. He's pretty much just playing for the loads of boosters we're paying out at this event. For just participating, you get 2 boosters, and people who go 4-0 get 7 boosters. Okay, apparently the sound is perfect now. Let's get to it. Let's hope Ruud has a playable hand and we can have some decent games here. Yep, and we're off to the races. Freeze cry, I still forget that one. Okay. Not much to say at this point. We've seen Ruud play black-white interactions a lot. I think Thijs is on the blue-red devoid deck. And yeah, I think we'll see Ruud on a hybrid counters matter, enchantments matter deck. He's been playing this deck for quite a while. It's even though it's a bit all over the place, it's pretty good. And Thijs firmly in the red-blue devoid archetype right now. Okay. Ruud's Topan free blade is looking pretty poor, but thank God he has the removal for the only blocker, so he gets to punch through and get it renowned. A big deal, of course, for his deck. The Vile Aggregate and Kozilek's Predator on the other side need a bit of interaction to be really good, where a lot of Ruud's creatures are pretty good on their own. Okay, we're still experimenting with a few different cameras, so sorry if the camera quality is not so good right now. We're on a pretty cheap camera, but we're looking to fix that around the 26th of March when we are firing our big finals event. This is actually a test run for that. And again, I apologize for all the background noise. Okay, Surge Spanner grows the Kozilek's Predator again, but now with the Free Blade as a 3/3 Vigilance, it'll have a pretty hard time punching through, unless of course you get to play multiple spells each turn. Stays pretty nicely on curve right now, attacking with what is, I guess, a 3/4 Predator. And Ruud just takes it. Okay, we hit a new record, 10 viewers, welcome guys. So this is Niels Viaene. I'm pretty much the inventor of this format, and I'm trying to spread it, so if you are interested in the format, I suggest you give it a try. It's a really fun and diverse meta game. It's a nice way to step into Constructed and into Standard even. A lot of our decks are ports of competitive regular Standard decks that have just been budgetized. Ruud right now in a bit of a pickle. The explosiveness of the blue-red devoid deck giving him quite a bit of troubles here. Yes, Ruud will need quite a bit of help to overpower this, but he has quite a few big cards, and Sorin is one of them. Of course, the Surge Spanner is quite a threat to Sorin. Let's see. Ruud decides to take it down and make a vampire. Okay, we immediately see in Thijs' reaction that this is quite a problematic card. That's the cool thing about this format, is that your cool cards, your rares, your mythics get to be really impactful. That doesn't mean that they win games straight out, but it makes the format just a tad bit more random, which makes it a lot more interesting for newer players. Because you get to play that cool card that you have, and you get to maybe win a game through it. We have a roast to get rid of the free blade, and that frees up the board to attack Sorin, who's on 2 loyalty. Oh yeah, the vampire has flying. My mistake. Scratch that comment about the Surge Spanner being a free attacker. Yeah. Again, playing the common lands that come into play tapped and give you 1 life. They're really a backbone of the deck right now, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when Shadows over Innistrad enters the fray and those lands disappear. We still have the Oath of the Gatewatch common lands to catch that, but mana bases will change quite a lot. Okay, Ruud with no play with 5 lands. One of them being a Evolving Wilds might explain that, but usually the curves in these decks are rather low. Aggro is quite strong in our format. I see the equipment that is cheaper to equip on colorless creatures. The name escapes me right now. Feel free to put it in the comments if you know the name by heart. We have a Stasis Snare explaining why Ruud passed with all that mana opener. Okay. So, Ruud still under a lot of pressure, and we get Pia and Kieran Nalaar explaining why he chose not to equip the blade on one of his creatures. And this is, I think Ruud needs quite a bit of help to overcome this. He did say in advance that he wasn't looking forward to facing Thijs in this round, so I guess his fears are turning out to be quite justified. That's pacifism that we didn't recognize earlier. Okay, Ruud plenty of mana at his disposal. That's the knight that gets +1/+1 and lifelink if you have an enchantment. Ruud, hoe noemt hij? Blood Curse Knight. In the future we will make sure that we have 2 commentators so that we can look up cards. So sorry for the amateuristic approach you are treated with right now. We will get better at this, I promise. So, Ruud does have the Stasis Snare and the Pacifism in play, so this is a 4/3 lifelink right now. Okay, Thijs contemplating his attack. Yeah, and Ruud drops to 9. Thijs played an aura to... no, the equipment. Yeah, the equipment was attached to one of the doctors, making the attack for 4. Okay, Thijs very strongly in control right now, very firmly. Let's see if Ruud can impact the board enough. A token free blade hits the board, but I'm afraid he's gonna need significantly more than that. Apparently the stream is going down for a second. I hope this fixes quickly. Okay, we're back up. Okay, maybe Ruud is keeping another removal spell up. I hope he has some form of sweepers available to him from the side, because right now he's getting pummeled in the air pretty strongly. He can't really get the advantage of his knight, the lifelink on it, because if he attacks he pretty much doesn't even trade down. The Kozilek's Predator that's equipped with the blade on top there is a 3-6 right now, so that's more than enough to block and kill the attacker. Ruud would gain 4 life, but if that's enough to save him remains to be seen. Okay, we seem to have some issues with our connection here. I hope it's only on my side right now. Apparently it is, so that's perfect. In the meantime, Ruud is okay. Thijs drops to 17, and Ruud goes up to 9. He does sacrifice his knight this way and plays an Anyong Bondkin. This is where the +1/+1 counters start to matter. If I'm not mistaken, he also has the 2/2 Flying Spirit that gets +1/+1 counters each time he plays an enchantment. Okay, the token is now coming up the ground quite nicely, but Thijs opting to choose to go for the safe attacks, and who can blame him really? Yeah, going in for 4 again. Ruud has nothing to stop this. Yeah, okay, Ruud scoops him up. That's 1-0 to Thijs. We're very aware of the resolution right now, but the issue is that we're right now working with a pretty cheap camera, and this is the maximum resolution we can squeeze out of it. As I said earlier, we are going to invest in some better infrastructure, so look forward to see proper HD content soon. We're also investing in lights to make sure that we're getting the most out of our video. So, time for sideboarding. Ruud is playing black, so in theory he has access to some of the better sweeper cards that would be partially helpful against Thijs. Problem with that being that the blue-red devoid aspect of his deck, not the token aspect, has pretty high toughness, so it's pretty hard to sideboard against this deck. Keeping in mind that, of course, rares are pretty limited, so you can't just jam in a couple of -4/-4 sweepers or the Planar Outburst, and that in theory would be a good answer. You're pretty much forced to more one-on-one answers in these scenarios. Apparently we have some people rooting for Ruud. Right now he's 1 down, but everything can happen, of course. Do remember that this was a game where Ruud had to mulligan and he was on a draw. The Devoid deck is pretty capable of, as we saw, presenting quite a sizable clock, attacking from different angles. You both have largish ground beaters and the possibility to go to the air. I don't think that Thijs has access to Whirler Rogues, as the Devoid cards already take up quite a lot of the uncommon slots. This is League Standard, or Gentry as it will be called in the near future, in which you're allowed only 15 uncommons in your deck and 4 individually different rares and or mythics. So if you're confused about why people are playing certain cards, that might be the answer you're looking for. I hope the background noise isn't too overwhelming at this point. They promised us we would have a calm upper floor in Outpost Ghent, but right now there's about 20 people slinging cards, rolling dice and clashing miniatures around us. So if you're interested in this format and you want to read more about it, you can go to leaguestandard.wordpress.com for more information about the decks to beat and different brewing options. We're also hosting a finals event, a more competitive top-heavy payout event on March 26th. Here in Outpost Ghent. So if you're a Magic player and you like building decks, you like a format where net decking is less of a factor and where you can play pretty much whatever you like to be playing, this could be the event for you. The guarantee we have is winner takes home a number of boosters equal to the number of participants, up to 36. So there's a pretty good chance the winner goes home with a full booster box. Right now we have 29 players here at this event, which is a very casual 4-round event that is hosted monthly and will be on this stream from now on. Okay. And we're off to game 2. Ruud starts this one. Let's hope we both have acceptable keepers. One of the things of notice is that this format is heavily slanted towards 2-color decks because of the mana base available. We have Evolving Wilds, and the common cycle comes into play tapped lands from Khans that give you 1 life, that serve as a pretty good base for 2-color decks. Monocolor decks can get a bit more aggressive, but are obviously less flexible and, to be honest, less fun to play. And there we go, the first 1-point life gain from a land. And Evolving Wilds. It's amazing when players illustrate exactly what you're talking about. I have a pretty slow start from both of these players. And Ruud is going towards a more controlling approach, playing Read the Bones here to sculpt his hand. Usually a card you want to be playing after you developed a bit of a board presence. But since Thijs isn't doing much interesting either, he's not really getting punished for this. Okay, turn 3. Thijs' deck should have quite a bit of powerful 3-drops. The Surge Spanner, the Artisan of Kozilek, Vile Aggregates, they're all possible. And we get a Surge Spanner. Such an efficient 3-drop. It's a backbone of a lot of different decks. The black-blue Nantuko Husk deck loves this as well. And the Banned Flyers deck uses it as both an attacker and a chump blocker on the floor. And Ruud plays the new Prison Aura to get rid of the flying part. So you see, paying 4 mana to neutralize only half of the card. Okay, the Cyan only has 1 power, but it still has a relevant impact on the board. I see in the chat here that somebody wants to make a Rakdos Madness deck. I can only approve of that. When I saw the Arrogant Worm Vampire, the 5 mana 4/3 haste that you can madness out for 3, combined with the 2-drop that has discard, then transform into a 3/2 flyer. That's such a nice backbone for the deck. I hope we get an aggressively costed 1-drop vampire. We had 2 of them in the original in Nistrad. No, that was Zendikar. So let's see if we get a repeat on that. Not quite sure which card that was. I think it's the Oath of the Gatewatch Sweeper that also exiles. So one of the better sideboard cards Ruud has for the token aspect of the deck. Oh, and here we see that Thijs does have room for Whirler Rogues in this deck. I guess he toned down the Devoid aspect of the deck a bit to make room for the token aspect, since both of these rely very heavily on the uncommons and easily overflood the maximum 15 requirements. Yeah, Flaying Tendrils is the sweeper. Thanks, Thomas. And Ruud reloading with a free blade and the knight, the lifelink knight again. I really need to learn the names better. Okay, so we see a nicely even board develop here. Lots of back and forth going on. Okay. This again has a line of attack available in the air. Flyers are pretty powerful in this format, where dodging combat is a lot more common than choosing to engage on the floor, which is more so in regular standard. We have, I think that's Outnumber. Thijs? That was Outnumber? We have Outnumber being used as a removal spell, again indicating that Thijs is choosing to lean more heavily on the token aspect of the blue-red color combination. And a Vile Aggregate, I think, right on top there. We'll see about Fiery Temper. I hope it's in there, but that seems like a pretty strong card right now. And Ruud keeps exiling stuff with his enchantments and forcing through his free blades. Thijs choosing not to block with his Whirler Rogue. I guess he wants to preserve his option to make a creature unblockable. Ruud did have mana available, so he might have feared a combat trick. Okay, viewers keep going up. We're at 18 viewers right now. It's pretty impressive. I have no idea how you guys are finding this channel, though I guess me posting in the Magic Flanders Facebook group helps. Feel free to contribute in the chat. I have half an eye on the chat right now. As this is an experimental setup, feel free to comment on improvements that we can make, commentary that I'm doing. If you think I'm doing a crappy job, feel free to spew in the chat. This is the first time I'm doing commentary. Okay, Thijs again doing his safe attack first. and then playing a new vile aggregate. Thing in the Ice is pretty awesome, and we currently have the blue-red prowess deck in our format as well, which would be a good fit, but we'll have to see about that. We have a bit of a race situation going on. Right now, they're still choosing to keep his Whirler Rogue back, but Ruud has a Wingmate Rock, again possibly leaning on his mythic slots to break open this stalemate. Thijs will need a pretty significant upgrade on the board to be able to deal with this. It is sort of fair though. Last game Thijs won partially on the back of Pia and Kiran Nalar. If you're interested in the blue-red Eldrazi aggro, Thijs is actually playing part of that deck. Like I mentioned before, he's made a hybrid blue-red devoid aggro and tokens, but it's very possible to have a more devoted blue-red Eldrazi aggro devoid deck. It's pretty strong as well. Ruud joking about scooping, and Thijs just replies by flooding the board with his flotters. Right now he can, maybe this is what he was waiting for when he declined to block with the Whirler Rogue, though personally I would have blocked when the Token Freeblade attacked as a 2-2, and now we can double block and fix it like this. Curious to see what Thijs will do when Ruud attacks, trading 3 of the Topters for 1 of the 2 birds. Ooh, but Flaying Tendrils decimates Thijs' board. This could easily be GG here. So Ruud coming in for 2. Coming in for 3. Ruud gaining a bunch of life. Yeah. So a very impressive looking attack that yielded just a 6-point life swing. I love the interaction you guys are having in the chat right now. Feel free to brainstorm any ideas about what decks could be good, what's coming in Shadows over Innistrad. I for one am very excited about what's it gonna do with the format. So, but back to the game. Thijs played a Surge Spanner to reload, and Ruud dispatched it with a Pacifism, and Thijs dropping rapidly. Does he have a lifesaver? Or are we going to the scoop phase? This is game 2 post board, yes. So the Flaying Tendrils came out of the sideboard, I presume, as we didn't see them on game 1, and there are quite a few decks against which it's pretty poor. Six mana for a Drowner of Hope. This buys Thijs 1 turn, 2, possibly 2. Oh no, it blocks the free blade as well, so yeah. Still, it only saves him for 1 turn.
Alright, gaan niet gebeuren.
So, Thijs opting to sack his scion to tap down 1. Yeah. And then, does he have any other plans here? And that's it. So, Thijs dropping to 1. Ruud a little confused on whose turn exactly it is here, fetching in his own end step, but that's okay. Not really relevant. So Thijs, do you have a miracle? Thijs seems to be confident that he can still do something. We have a ruination guide. That's not enough to survive. A roast. There's still one flying, that's too much. And he is almost tapped out. I'm assuming he has an outnumber to take care of one of the flyers. So Ruud down to 14. What's the plan here, Thijs? Tap 1, according to plan, yeah. Now he pretty much needs the out... Oh, he doesn't have the outnumber anymore. It's a fiery impulse. Oh, sorry about that, vibration, they're moving tables here. Okay, 1-1. Okay, sorry about the commotion here, guys. There's a bunch of table moving going on. Thank God it's in between games, so we're not missing out on too much. Okay, Skotoko, it's great to hear that you get your kids into Magic. I think it's a great hobby, and I hope you play together with him. It's your son? Yeah, it's your son, so I hope you get to play together with him. Two-headed giant pre-releases will be a great experience, I suppose. If I had a kid, I would take mine. Okay, it's getting quite crowded here. So apparently we have a few new viewers again. For those who don't know, this is a live stream of the League Standard tournament that is currently going on in Outpost Ghent. League Standard is a budget format based on the standard card pool where you're allowed to play only 15 uncommons and up to 4 mythic and or rares. It's a really cool way to get into Constructed, and it has a surprisingly diverse and balanced metagame. On March 26th we're hosting a finals event which has a more competitive structure and prize payout if you are interested. We have Lars here in the tournament downstairs, so it's possible to get some Sphinx's tutelage, but of course we'll favor people who are doing well, and I have no idea what's going on downstairs at this point, so... Okay, up to the decider. Let's see who wins game 3. Again, for Ruud, his position in the leaderboard is at stake as well. He currently is in the updated version in 2nd place, a tied 2nd place. If he manages to keep his top 2 spot, he gets a bye on the finals event on March 26th. And if he manages to keep top 5, he also gets some boosters for his efforts. Okay, everybody, cross your fingers for some nice opening hands and another game like that second one. That was pretty epic, lots of back and forth, and then a life-saving flaying tendrils warping the game completely. Game 1 was won pretty much by Thijs constantly reloading and in the end attacking very securely in the air, as Ruud's deck has some issues with flying creatures, it seems. Okay, contemplating opening hands. Thijs looks a bit in pain. Ah yes, okay, the tiara on top of the screen, that's our King of the Hill symbol. Currently Thijs is on King of the Hill. That means that anyone who defeats him wins the tiara and gets a booster for it. If he wins himself, the booster will be given out randomly to somebody in the tournament. Okay, looks like Thijs is still thinking about it. He is on the play, but he chooses to go down to 6. Seemed like a painful decision. Welcome, Skull Clown. Yeah, but if he wears the crown, it's no longer in screen, so I'm okay with it being on the table. It makes it so that I have an anchor, so I can have something to talk about when they're mulligan or doing nothing. Yep. So, for those who don't know, my name is Niels. I'm the inventor of this format and the driving force behind the community effort as well. So, I guess I can do that. Just a second. Thijs, there's a request that you wear your tiara. Okay, so Thijs taking up his duties. Yeah, that's in screen. Alright, I hope everybody's happy now. We have 17 viewers right now. We already lost 5 because your mulligan is taking too long. Yeah, the players are within earshot of me, so I have to be a bit careful with what I say and my volume. Okay. Okay, Thijs chooses to keep his opening 6, but he didn't seem too happy about it. So, and we're off to the races. The problem with the common fixed lands, as you see here, is that both the gain lands, as we call them, the common cycle, and evolving wilds put your mana source into play tapped. So you do lose quite a bit of tempo by playing 8 of them. But usually it is worth over playing a monocolor deck. But that might change with Shadows over Innistrad. So, Fiery Impulse taking care of the Token Freeblade. Again, we have a slightly more controlling start to the game. And a trusty Surge Spanner for Thijs. Taking to the air again, which has proven to be a pretty sound strategy against Ruud. Is this Ruud's Knight? No, it's the 2/2 flying spirit that gets a +1/+1 counter whenever an enchantment comes into play. Again, I lost the name. Anyone who knows, feel free to put it in the chat. You guys are helping me cast this thing right now. You're the real MVP. They're currently playing, Weytens is playing a hybrid of Blue-Red Devoid and Topters, and Ruud is playing sort of a hybrid between black-white enchantments and counters matter. So oh, Blessed Spirit, yeah. Mono Red currently isn't that strong. In the last iteration, it was a lot stronger. Apparently, I missed a life total update. So, just checking for a second. Life totals 1620? Alright, we're up to date, guys. Yeah, your red, blue-red prowess is one of the strong decks right now, but since it's pretty new, it isn't being played that much right now. So, Ruud uses Stasis Snare to get rid of the threat, grows his flyer. Now he can securely defend against a Surge Spanner. But of course Thijs has already shown quite a bit of painful removal, and indeed Ruud choosing to go onto the offensive and make sure he gets as much out of his Blessed Spirits, Blessed Spirits as possible. If he has a handful of enchantments to take back control, this could be a race in his favor after all. So, this is game 3 for those of you who tapped in later. And we have a Vile Aggregate coming into play for Thijs. Now, if Ruud still has access to a couple of pacifisms or anything comparable, he's still in pretty good shape. Better than it might look like right now. Also, don't forget that Ruud still has access to the Flaying Tendrils, so he can somewhat ignore the lower toughness creatures, and goes onto the offensive. He doesn't play an enchantment before his attack on the aggregate, so that could mean that he's more on a creature plan. I know for a fact that Ruud isn't playing many instants, as those are very out of touch with the synergies in his deck. Not looking so good for Ruud here. Oh no, he does have the Flying Tendrils already. So it doesn't kill the Vile Aggregate, but it takes away 2 of its power. It's a pretty big blow. This is round 2 of 4 right now. Yeah, sorry if it takes me a little while to answer to questions on the chat. There's only half an on that side of the table here. Okay, but Thijs has the negate. At this point it saves only his surge spanner. I guess Thijs thinks this will be enough to raise back. Ruud has the Topen Freeblade, which is blocked pretty handily by the aggregate. Let's see if Thijs chooses to go on the offensive or uses to block. Thijs is going on the offensive. So far he has been a more conservative player. So it's a bit surprising to see him go on the offensive like this, but I think it's the right decision. Not sure what happened with exiling the land there. Just a second. Ruud, waarom ligt dat landje geëxiled? The land was ingested. Oh yeah, Skyspawn, not Surge Spanner. Oh, that's a blast from the past. Thanks, Thomas. Can't see which card that is. Ruud, welke kaart?
Sentinel of the Eternal Watch.
That's Sentinel of the Eternal Watch. It's a 4/6 Vigilance that taps a creature every during the opponent's beginning of combat. So a pretty unusual inclusion in his deck. It's pretty capable of taking over an entire board, but not very synergistic, and like we see, it's a very costly drop. Thijs answers the power uncommon with his own crazy rare, so Viaene and Kiran Nalaar, giving Thijs a pretty sizable air army and the ability to shoot off some attackers. This also makes the Vile Aggregate a 4 power creature, still not enough to deal with the Sentinel. And Ruud plays Suppression Fields on Viaene Kiran Nalaar, so that does neutralize the ability Thijs has to sacrifice his Topters for damage, but of course the Topters are still there. This is again Ruud using one card to deal with, in practice, only Thijs naar? Oh, apparently I missed an attack somewhere, so Thijs already took damage earlier. So the race is a bit tighter than I thought, actually. Jullie tijd is binnen 4 minuten. Jullie time in the round is in 4 minutes. So this feature match has 4 minutes left on their clock. They called time in the round downstairs just now. Thijs looking to swarm.
Zeg hem nog een beetje extra.
Okay. Yeah, right now the Vile Aggregate is 5 power? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 power, yeah? Yeah. But Thijs is going pretty wide. So it's pretty much flaying tendrils or die, and Thijs is very aware of this. So, oh, Ruud taps 3. Whew! That, now, the double white gave away that it wasn't, but this might just dig to it. Ruud dropping to 3. Bear in mind though that even if he plays Flaying Tendrils, the Vile Aggregate remains on the table, so the Sentinel has Vigilance though, so it would take care of that. Either Ruud is slow rolling at this point or he doesn't have it. It's Kalitas, traitor to get, I think. I don't think that's enough to save him in the long run. It does giving him a source of life gain to dig back out, but when he neutralizes one attacker, he's still being attacked by 4. So I guess he still needs something extra to finish up here. Or does the Kalitas fly? I'm not completely sure. Just Ruud, if Kalitas flying ook? Nee. So the Kalitas doesn't fly. No, but Ruud has the Blessed Spirit as our blocker. Yeah. So Thijs can only punch through 2 damage, and that leaves him with pretty little. If he attacks with everything, then he just loses a bunch of stuff, and Ruud gains with the Kalitas. So Thijs' options are pretty much to attack, losing his Sky Spawner to put Ruud on 1. And then Ruud can just attack with the Kalitas. Okay, so before blockers, Thijs has the outnumber and he attacks for 4. Thijs wins 2-1 here. So that's the end of round 2. As time has been called quite a few minutes ago downstairs already for round 2, I suppose we'll be back really quickly for round 3. So stick around, wait for my divine voice to call you back to round 3, and we'll be underway for the next one.